talk to me about the billing process. We have a better understanding about what is on the bill, but what's the process? How often do we bill? Tell me about that.
Okay, so we're going to talk just residential because
Yep,
residential and
perfect.
commercial are handled differently.
Okay.
For residential, we bill roughly every 60 days. And we are sending out bills, reading meters, sending out bills every day or every other day for sending out the bills. So it's a continuous process as we go through our customer base and work different areas of town reading the meters. So roughly every 60 days, and I say roughly because we have weekends, we have holidays, we have snow, we have real cold, we have guys that get sick with COVID, we have people that come and go, like any employee base.
Sure.
So it's not always exactly 60 days, but we try to keep it right around the 60-day time frame. That way our bills can generally be consistent. And if something comes up strange, either low or high, then we can catch it as soon as we possibly can. Because again, that's in our customer's best interest to do that. We want to catch anomalies as fast as we can. So what happens? The process. Meter reader goes out, lifts up the lid, and when a meter reader reads a meter, he just lifts that lid up as minimal as possible to read the meter because he's reading 300 meters a day.
Wow.
And if you think about it, in an 8-hour day, reading 300 meters, plus he's got to drive to where his route is and then drive back to the office, download the information. So he's only on a property less than a minute. They average less than a minute on a property to read the meter. Okay. So they walk on, they pop the lid. They don't pick the lid up and put it off to the side. They just lift it up at an angle, look down inside. If the meter has a lid on it like this one does, they'll open this lid. They'll typically run their knuckle, and I actually just did this on a customer's meter last week. Run their knuckle across where the readings are.
Okay.
Read the number, enter the number into a small handheld, kind of like a tablet. Close it. They often don't close this. I kind of wish they would, but it takes more time. They often don't close that.
They're trying to be efficient.
They're trying to be as efficient as they can.
Yeah.
Close the cast iron lid. And again, it's not a lot of closing because it's not all the way open. It's not flopped off to the side. It's just lay it back down and then go on to the next one.
Okay.
So you often can't tell when a meter reader has read the meter. Part of the box will look different maybe because some of the grass might have gotten underneath it if there's grass that's been furrowed over and growing over. The other half, the other 2/3 won't because they won't even lift it enough to have dislocated it.
And I assume that's kind of the point because while I guess we have an easement or something to allow us to go there to check it, it's also not our property. So these guys, these folks aren't trying to come up and, make all sorts of a mess around there.
Well, you're absolutely right. A, they don't have time. B, it's not their responsibility to do that. And C, the property line, the actual ownership of the ground, generally is right about where the meter is located on that back side.
Okay.
So the ownership of the service line generally coincides very, very closely with the ownership of the ground.
Okay.
So everything on that side is normally owned by the customer, this side owned by the city.
Gotcha. All right.
Or, as you mentioned, with an easement for the city to have the authority to be able to work there for the water business.
Okay. So about 300 meters a day. That's wild. But there's not necessarily like, oh, my meter is read at the end of every other month, or because like you said, there is sort of that flexibility in the timing.
Yeah. So we do what we can to keep it that way.
Okay.
So just as an example of good business, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Veterans Day, the November, December, January holidays, those are long weekends, and those are lots of long weekends in one 60-day period.
Right.
So we generally actually try to get a little bit ahead prior to those holidays because we know we're going to fall behind. I would rather not pay overtime for my employees to have to read meters, but we want to keep the meters on schedule. So we often get temporary staff and plus up a little bit before the holiday period so that we are at about 57 days.
Okay.
So that as we hit the holidays, we lose a few of those days. Also, when we get hit with weather, our most common weather delays for meter reading happen in January, February because of snow or cold. We really don't like popping meter lids when it's 20 degrees outside.
Okay.
Because that lets the heat out.
Oh, yeah.
And it increases the chance a customer's line is going to freeze, and we don't want to do that.